Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Exam Room with Nurse Alice, the show where we talk about everything under the sun and we take a closer look at things going on in the world today. So that means we're going to be talking about health, wellness, love, lifestyle. I'll be bringing on my expert medical guests as well as all your favorite celebrities. We'll get all the tea, what they're working on, and all of those great things. And plus, if you have a question or something that you'd like us to talk about, please make sure to email the show. You can email us at info@asknursealice.com. And believe me, we're going to talk about what you want to talk about because this is a show for you. But yes, I'm excited to be back. We took the last week off because we changed a couple of things. I don't know if you guys can see, but the set's a little bit different. Our format's a little different, but it's going to be new and improved. So that's what I'm really excited about. But I don't know what everyone's been up to, but I hope everyone's been safe, making good choices and living life well. Lots of things going on in society today. Man, everything has changed that we know it to be. But hopefully, myself and my experts and friends that are going to be on the show, I hope that we can help inspire you to make healthier choices, empower you to speak up and take your health and wellness into your own hands. So that's going to be a lot of the things that we're talking about. Okay, so it's not just about exercise and eating healthy. We're going to talk about a lot of other things. Although some of our guests today are going to talk about some of the things that they're working on around the topic of food. And again, we have a great lineup to today. But first, you know what? I want to go ahead and talk about something that everybody's talking about right now. I mean, I don't know. It's been all on the news. We've been bombarded with information, but your president was tested COVID positive, and he was admitted into the hospital. So as of today, he's been discharged. But wait a minute, how does that happen? He's diagnosed, gets all of these treatments that are reserved for very, very, very sick people, and then all of a sudden he's being discharged? Like, how does that work? What's happening? So to help join the conversation and to add their expertise to the conversation, I am bringing on one of my medical experts, Dr. James Simmons. He is a hospitalist nurse practitioner here in Los Angeles at UCLA Medical Center, as well as St. Francis. And he's also the founder of Ask the NP. Please welcome to the conversation, Dr. James. Hey, Dr. James, how are things going? Okay, Dr. James just got to unmute his mic and we're going to get going here. Oh, there we go. I love it.
I feel so fancy. That was such a lovely introduction. I'm going to take you everywhere, Alice. That was awesome.
Oh, there you go. You can just pay me later. But okay, so Dr. James, so let's talk about this. And, you know, I'm a nurse practitioner and clinical nurse specialist as well. So I know you and I kind of know what's going on, but can we break it down for the people? So let me just paint this. So from what we see as everyday citizens, we have a president who has talked about not wanting to wear masks and, you know, kind of said that this disease isn't as serious, it'll kind of go away. And then we've had millions of people diagnosed, over 200,000 people have died from COVID-19. And then ultimately, after all his frolicking with all his friends and no masks, he tested positive. He did. You saw him frolicking, you know it.
I love it. I hadn't heard it called frolicking yet, but that's exactly what he was doing, frolicking.
Mm-hmm. He's frolicking. Okay, but he tested positive for COVID-19, and then he was admitted to the hospital. Can you share, because you take care of COVID-19 patients all the time. You're admitting people, you're discharging people. Can you kind of walk us through how his admission and discharge happened so fast?
Yeah, this was a really, really interesting situation, and very atypical of what a patient who has COVID-19 goes through. Now, granted, he is the president of the United States, right? So he is likely going to get a different level of care than what a lot of people get. But there's so many things that just aren't adding up. And on top of that, the administration is not being fully transparent with everything that's going on with him, right? And I think that's the thing that's really an issue. So, he was diagnosed apparently at 1 a.m. on Thursday night, so Friday morning of last weekend. And by Friday late evening, they were transporting him, essentially medevacing him in a helicopter to Walter Reed. after he had received, and this is the item number 1, Regeneron, which is a polyclonal antibody therapy that is not even approved for FDA emergency use authorization. Like it hasn't even gotten that far yet. Only 274 people have actually gotten this medication. Now, I will say the data looks really good on it. It looks like it can reduce the viral load of COVID-19 in somebody, but there's probably between that and the other therapies that he got over the weekend, like remdesivir, dexamethasone, there's not a human being on the planet who has gotten the treatments and the therapies that Donald Trump has.
Exactly.
But
so
what's so crazy?
So that to me, I see systemic racism imposed on to health inequality right away off the bat. Just like, because I those medications, Regeneron, not even approved for emergency use, but he plays golf with the owner. How convenient is that?
How convenient. And how convenient that, 31 people, and they're calling it the White House orbit. So 31 people in the White House orbit since last Saturday, since Judge Amy Coney Barrett's announcement of her nomination to be the next Supreme Court judge, which is a whole issue in and of itself when you want to speak of the threat to healthcare disparities getting even worse. That's the last person we need in there. But 31 people who have been tied to that event, as well as to the debates, to the rally he held in Minnesota the following day, to the rally he had in New Jersey, the fundraiser he had in New Jersey on Thursday, 11 debate staff from Ohio, reporters, 3 senators, White House staff, his chief communications person, Kelly McEnany, out there, right, not wearing a mask today, talking to people, announcing that she had COVID without a mask. Like what? The flippancy that this entire administration has taken with this pandemic has specifically and directly contributed to the 210,000 people in the United States alone who have lost their lives because of this, and now to then be discharged early from the hospital while he probably is still sick, because we don't give people remdesivir and dexamethasone unless they're sick.
Absolutely not. Right.
It's just not. I've been using this word lately, nimbly-pimbly. We just don't nimbly-pimbly give people these drugs.
Right. No, Dr. James, let me ask this, because there are some conflicting reports. Although, and guys, let me just say, there are protections called HIPAA, where you're entitled to having your healthcare information protected. Now, don't quote me because I'm not the expert in political science and the laws, but this is our president. So I believe we as citizens have the right to know what his state of health is, to know if he's able to lead our country. But the doctors that came out, I don't know how they try to come out in formation. I'm like, Beyonce did it best. Don't try to copy all that. But they came out in some formation and giving these kind of mixed reports about, first, the president's doing well. Then we hear later his oxygen saturation dropped. He needed oxygen. We're seeing these medications reserved for the very sick. And so, that kind of paints a picture like, oh my gosh, he's not doing well. Then you flip it around, it's like, he goes out on a motorcade waving at people. Like, what's up with that? I mean, you're infectious. So let me just be clear. So Dr. James, from the time that he was diagnosed and symptomatic, safe to say that the president is still infectious with COVID-19. Is that correct?
Very, very much so. Still highly infectious, yes.
So when can someone discharge from the hospital if they're still COVID-19 positive because they're infectious? What happens?
Right. So we do send people home sometimes when they're not done with their therapy. So people who generally get remdesivir, it's a 5-day course of treatment, and it's through IV. Now, most people they can't get this drug, and it's a drug that was only approved for FDA emergency use authorization in the hospital setting, right? So you have to stay in the hospital for 5 days to get that. So today is day 3 for him of getting that. So presumably he would stay at least 2 more days. Now, normal individuals would then, on that day, on day 5.
The president's not normal?
Well, that's a whole different conversation, but you know what I mean. So we would normally say, all right, has this person not had a fever for 24 hours without the use of fever-lowering medications? And is this person's symptoms getting better? And are they not using supplemental oxygen, right? So if you can answer those 3 questions for me, even though you might be contagious, I'm willing to send you home if right, you have an isolation plan when you get home. So if you have a private bedroom and a private bathroom where you can go and not expose yourself to other people for at least 5 more days, at least, preferably 10. So this fool gets off a helicopter tonight, still contagious, walks up into the White House, Alice, and takes his mask off inside around staff members, goes back outside with the mask on, takes it off to take pictures, fine, he's outside, and then turns around and walks back inside the White House again for the second time without a mask, around staff members, around all of these people,
right,
who he is supposed to be setting an example for. Like, I understand that there needs to be a show of strength and there's national security issues around letting people know if the president is sick or whatever, but at the same time, it shows a complete and utter disregard for the safety and the health and the well-being of the people who literally their job and their livelihood is to serve and protect this man who clearly is giving 0 Fs about them.
Absolutely. And I mean, if there's ever been a breach of national security and safety, this is it. This has been it. I mean, the gentleman's behavior, not wearing masks, being willy-nilly, exposing other people, putting other people at risk. He's actually endangering the lives of others. But Dr. James, I know there's so much more to talk about this. Could you please come back and later in the show? I'd like to talk more about this and what we as citizens need to know and how it's going to impact our us going outside to vote, because voting is important, guys. So we want to talk about this because we want you safe and we want your voice out there to make a difference. So Dr. James, thank you so much. We're going to bring you back later in the show. Okay. So guys, Dr. James was really dropping some knowledge. And again, he can go. Let me tell you, he can go. And he definitely takes care of very sick patients. He's admitting patients. He's discharging patients with COVID-19. And, so he's really knows the latest and greatest. Does he take care of the president? No. That's probably a challenging task. But again, so we're, as health professionals, we're talking about what usually and typically occurs. And as we mentioned earlier, the fact that the president has been afforded all of these things so quickly, and he's telling us, don't worry, don't be afraid of COVID. Sure, you got insurance, you can get whatever you want when you want it. But what about the working people of America who are struggling to keep a roof over their head, put food on their table, provide for their kids, and can barely afford insurance? That's a whole nother ballpark. And we have over 200,000 people who died to prove it. But child, that's like my blood pressure is up. We need to switch gears. We definitely need to switch gears. So guys, I'm really excited about our next guest. Really, really excited. Our next guest, she is a veteran actress, best known for her roles as Dr. Sasha Brown on Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns and as Trina in Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married? You know what? I loved her and hated her in that role. But listen, we all love her very much. But her career she's appeared in numerous things, numerous films, TV projects, including Bronx, SIU, Days of Our Lives, The Bounce Back, Stand Against Evil, Couples Nights, and Key and Peele, to name a few. And in 2019, this proud Louisiana University grad reprised her role of the voice of superheroes Rocket and Raquel in DC Comics' Young Justice. And this Maurice, Louisiana native and self-proclaimed foodie, is a culinary entrepreneur with her very own Louisiana Girl line of seasonings. She's also co-authored a book, Southern Modified, with my friend, TV host and celebrity chef Jenrette Wells. Guys, our next guest, I know you've seen her, you love her. Take a look at this.
My doctor has advised that I terminate my pregnancy in order to begin treatment.
What's so funny?
But sacrificing my child's life in order to save mine is a decision that I simply cannot make.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to the show, Denise Boutte. Hi!
I think I was about to cry. I was like, oh.
That's some good acting. Listen, some good acting.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And thank you so much. And I have to say, let me ask you, what was your first acting role?
Oh, girl. It was a horror movie, and I forgot the name of it, and I worked for Food and Footage. That I remember.
And I was one of 5 characters. And of course, you know, the sister got killed first. And
Ain't it always like
but
that?
I think I was running through the woods for 5 days straight in 4-inch heels. And like I said, it was the beginning of my career. So I don't know, maybe I got $2 or whatever and some lunch, you know, that's kind of what you do, you know. But yeah, food and footage is what I got from it. But yeah, at this point, it's some really good blackmail material. So I don't.
Oh, there you go. I'm gonna have to Google that.
It's somewhere in IMDb. If you scroll way down or whatever, it's in there. So yeah.
Well, I have to say, and I know you've done lots of things, but I'll have to say, like, you kind of captured my heart and hate a little bit in Tyler, but that was good acting. That's why, you know, because you were really, really good in Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married? As Trina, girl, you had all the sisters mad. Like, hold on,
yeah, Tricky Trina, yep,
Tricky Trina.
Tricky Trina. But you know what? Here's the crazy part. People know Sasha Brown, but for the most part, a lot of the characters I've played, other than like some of the more recent character roles, I play a witch. Like, I can't say the word apparently, but I mean, I play bad girls a lot, you know, and it's kind of fun.
Oh, it is. So you must really be a good girl and just like to kind of act out in through the roles.
I mean, I can live vicariously through the characters. So it's like, there's nothing. Yeah, I don't have anything to prove when I get back home, but I'm just like, wow, this was fun on set.
There you go. Now, I was doing some research, Denise, and I was watching an older clip of, it looks like Tyler Perry talk show. It was you in the cast of Why Did I Get Married? And I heard a very interesting story about you, about how you met Tyler Perry. I just wanted to know if this is true, because I thought this was just a fun fact. So can you tell us a little bit about the story of how you actually met Tyler Perry? Look at her face, y'all. Look at her face. No, this is a good story, guys.
Tyler is full of mess. That's like my big brother. And so on there on television, he tells everybody that he discovered me on the side of the road or something. Like,
you were up in the hall.
It was something like that. And I was like, are you serious right now? And he never cleared it up. Like, he never.
So it's not true.
He never cleared it up. So no, it was an audition. I went into the room. I did my best audition. I mean, I'd never been in for a series, you know, before. And by the end of that day, my manager got a call. Her name was Kim. Kim called him and was like, hey, look, have her come in and do the exact same thing that she did today. And I really think this is her job. And I was like, I told my manager, I was like, are you serious? He was like, yeah. He was like, no pressure. I was like, yeah, well, thanks for telling me.
Thanks. Yeah.
So I went in the next day and I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. And he gets up. And at that point, I had no idea it was Tyler. This is kind of pathetic, maybe. No, because this was in the beginning. This was when everybody knew him as Medea. And people knew him out of character, but it wasn't very often, at least not for me. So anyway, he comes up. He was like, Denise, I'm going to offer you the role of Sasha. He was like, I'd love for you to join my comedy and stuff. And at first, I'm like, it's a comedy? Like, I played it as if it was a drama because it was like super duper serious, right? So I was like, it's a comedy? He was like, yeah, it's a comedy. He was like, so welcome to the family. I was like, my mama's gonna be so proud. And I end up sobbing on the floor and crying. He's like, all right, get up. Get up. Okay, it's okay. So then I go outside. He was like, bring it together. He was like, because there's a lot of people out there that are coming in. He was like, but you're officially my pick. I was like, okay. So then I go outside and my hand to God, the first person I see is Lamond Rucker. And I knew Lamond, but in passing from auditions and stuff, he was like, you okay? And I was like, I think I got the part. And he was like, you serious? I was like, I think so. And he gave me a big hug. He was like, it's okay. It's okay. And I was like, thank you. And so I go out, I get into the truck and I'm just like, oh my God. So I called my manager. I was like, I think it went well. He gave me his hand and he said I was the character. He was like, but I don't know. I guess Tyler has to approve it. I have no idea. I was like, you know, he told me I had it, but I guess Tyler has to give his final. He was just like, oh, I guess so. So he finds out later that day. He was like, Denise, that was Tyler Perry.
That was Tyler.
I was like, what?
You're like, oh my God.
I didn't know. So being naive when I first got here was the biggest blessing because I didn't know, girl. I just went in every audition. I had fun and lo and behold, thank God, I think it was a year and a half after I moved here that happened. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, and I know, I mean, that you're in a tough industry, a lot of competition with the roles, but I have to say you did an excellent job, just like you've done an excellent job in all of the work that you've done. Can you tell us what's been your favorite piece of work thus far?
I think one of the more challenging ones, because I'd done a lot of comedy, I'd done a lot of bad girls, but it wasn't about being, cute, wasn't about being sassy. Like, this was a real gritty character role. And that one was called For the Love of Ruth. And that one, I was like, I hope I can pull it off. Like, I've been hoping for this kind of a gig, and I want to show people that I've really got the chops, to bring this home. And so I think that was the very first one. As a matter of fact, see, I can talk all night, so you're going to have to stop me. But the director who did For the Love of Ruth, Christine Swanson, was actually the same director for the Clark sisters.
Oh, wow.
She has like 4 kids, and this was like her first directing job after she had done several, but she kind of took, a little sabbatical to raise her kids. And this was her first job back. And I avoided her for the first 2 days. And she was like, hey, let's meet in the lobby and let's talk or whatever. I was like, okay, I'll let you know when I'm available. I would lock myself in the room and I would study. And by the 3rd day, I was like, okay, I think that I can face her, and talk to this woman. And so we did, and it was amazing. So we've been friends ever since. But I was really scared. It was my first character role. And like I said, that's all about chops. That has nothing to do with what you're wearing or anything like that. And then after that, I did another role, and I was just like, and I'm blanking out, but that one was significant also. So I'm really proud. I'm really proud of that stuff, to have proven to myself that I'm able. So.
Right, and you've proven to the millions of viewers who've watched you. I mean, you've done some amazing work. Now, I wanted to say, you were talking earlier about having grit and having the chops and things like that. Now, I know it's a little bit different, but kind of segueing a little bit from TV life to kind of family life. You're a mom, and you're married. How has, their mom is Denise Boutte. Going out with your family. What do your kids think of it? Because I know my kids are sometimes, I'm Nurse Alice. I'm on NBC and I'm doing other things. They're just like, you're just mom. Do your kids ever kind of oh, my mom is Denise Boutte? Or
sometimes, for the most part, that's what I am.
Flex on their friends.
Well, she hasn't seen me with makeup on in 5-6 months, so she was like, "Mommy, oh, mommy," she likes that, But other than that, girl, I'm around here with yoga pants. She's just But I think it matters when we go home. Here, not so much. Okay. In Louisiana, in my small hometown, that's where it matters. People, from the kids to the adults. We actually went home for 2.5 months. And that was because of the whole COVID situation. My husband was working. This whole online school thing had blown my mind. And so, Hollywood was shut down. So we went to my mom's house. All of our parents, my husband's mom, and all of our family is back there. And I needed backup.
There you go.
Yeah, I needed backup. So I went over there, and it was weird because, the whole mask situation, and I couldn't do the hugs. And sometimes I had no idea who the heck I was. But usually when I go home, that's where it matters. And I love that. You know what I'm saying? That I could, be a small town girl and be a living example of don't stunt, just take your dreams next level, think out of the box. And if you got guts or whatever, and you feel that something's in the stars for you, just see what happens.
Yeah, I think representation matters. So seeing you as a role model is very important. But you mentioned Louisiana. So I know you have, I heard through the grapevine, through your Louisiana roots, that you make some fine pralines. And that, you've also co-authored a book with my good friend, Dr. Wells, Modified, and you have a line of seasonings. So
I do.
So is that something that you've always had a love for in the kitchen, outside of being on the set?
You know what? I ate a lot in Louisiana, and because my mom is an amazing cook, and we grew up on a farm, like every weekend somebody was cooking. So girl, I ate. Okay. But little did I know that when I moved to Dallas, and I was actually in advertising in Dallas, that's how the shift happened. When I was there, I had to fend for myself. So every weekend it seemed like I was like calling my mom on Friday. Hey mom, I want to make this, what ingredients do I need? So I would get on the phone with her like all morning Saturday, and she would tell me over the phone, like how she taught me how to make a roux for gumbo.
Ooh.
This is what's funny. So at the time they didn't have it in a jar or powder, right? And so I call her, and she was like, okay, so you get your butter, baby, you get your, or you can do flour, and you do your oil. She was like, now stir that pot. Girl, you got to stir that pot. She was like, oh, it's going to burn. She was like, now, when you know your roux is right, she was like, go ahead and put a jar of peanut butter on the side. When that roux is peanut butter color, she was like, now that's your shrimp and eggs stew. Okay. I was like, okay. She was like, now for your dark roux, she's like, put your arm on the side of that pot, and when it turns that color, she was like, baby, you ready for your gumbo? I was like,
I love
it. Okay.
I love it. I love it.
She was like, you get your Jiffy. She's like, that's your shrimp and egg. Then she was like, now you get your arm color. She was like, that's your gumbo. I was like,
that must have been good. I know that's some good cooking. But Denise, tell us, like, so with your line of seasonings, and Louisiana girl, how can people like myself, get your products and try some of that? Oh, there it is, y'all.
I'm always ready. Always ready. You see what I'm saying? Oh, backwards. Oh, right there. Yeah.
Okay, so what do we got here?
This is low sodium. I don't know if you can
like low sodium.
This is hot spicy. This is the absolute best seller right here. Okay. This one is original.
Okay.
And this one is cinnamon sugar. So I wanted to add something sweet to all those savories. But basically, ultimately, I want to do the pecan candy situation. But I was talking with Jenrette, and he and his wife Keena had come to the house, right? And I'd done some salmon, and he was like, "Wow, niece, what you got on here?" And I told him, I was like, I'll just, mix this up, and I had it on a plastic container. He was like, "You really should think about doing something with that." And I was just like, "I don't know what." I was like, when I got to California, basically, I had to start eating a little different, and so I wanted to do something healthier for my family, so I just mixed it up. Like, honestly, I've mixed it up, shake it up in a container, and that's it. It was like, you really need to consider doing something with this. So needless to say, he has an FDA approved kitchen. He mixed up my first batch. He took what I had in my kitchen and mimicked it perfectly. And there you go. I had Louisiana girl, and we started off with the low sodium. And then when his schedule wouldn't allow, to do all that stuff, because Chef Jenrette is real busy. Okay?
I know.
Very busy. Okay.
Very busy.
And a dear friend. And so I expanded and got the other ones, and it's been pretty amazing. I got it in a few grocery stores back home. Of course, you can get it online if you're not in Louisiana, but it's www.louisianagirl.com. So Louisiana is WEEZIANA girl.com.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I'm gonna have to get a whole ensemble there and try this out, and then maybe match it up with the Southern Modified Cookbook.
Yeah. Look, yes. I got that too, girl.
Oh, listen, y'all. Look. Denise is working it. She is working the TV screen.
I actually was in advertising. Yes, I was in advertising for almost 5 years, girl, in Dallas, Texas. So
there you go. That's the skill set people need.
What is it? What they say? If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Boop, there it is. There it is. Now, Denise, this has been great talking to you. Before we wrap up, where can people follow you? Like, what is there something that's coming up that we should know about and be on the lookout for? And where can people follow you?
I've got some amazing stuff. Okay, so the movie I was trying to think about or whatever, so I got Her Only Choice or whatever is the other one I was trying to think about. So For the Love of Ruth and Her Only Choice, which is amazing. That's the clip that you were showing in the beginning, right?
Okay. Yes.
Oh my God. So Denise Boutte. So just Denise Boutte on Instagram. I think there's a little dash underneath there. And same thing on Facebook. I have two pages. One is filled up, and then the other one is free for all. And I don't really tweet. So whatever. I leave that to Agent Orange. So anyway, you can get me that way. But I have two amazing projects, one of which I am an actor and producer on. So we are looking forward to the announcement in December.
Yay! Okay.
And I've got another movie coming out, which is, I'll call it a dramedy, with Jackie Long, Christian Keys, an amazing cast. And that's coming out on BET in January 2021. So we're going to wipe the slate of 2020 clean, and we're going to start off right. Yes. And it's called Never and Again. So that's going to be, I'm looking forward to, we're about to start the press junkets on that. So I'm very excited. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to bring it on.
I've got a movie in pre-production, but I can't say anything about it.
Oh, see, there you go. See how like, let me dangle this, but I can't tell you this yet. But that's okay, guys. But you know what? I'm going to bring Denise Boutte back on, and hopefully maybe we can get some of her cast members to come back on and talk about this as we get a little bit closer. So Denise, I love all your work. You're beautiful. You're amazing.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to try these seasons because I know my kids are getting tired of the same old stuff because they're usually gone throughout the day at school eating other things. But now
I know. And I've got a 9-year-old, so it's all natural, low sodium, all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's just a healthier take on you. But what do I say? You don't have to skimp out on taste just because you're skimping out on salt. So it's amazing. You're not going to lose anything. You're going to gain something.
Low sodium, so it's nurse approved. There you go.
Nurse Alice approved.
Yes, these seasonings.
Yay. I will see you tomorrow on NBC7.
Oh, there you go.
The way I saw you the other day. I was just like, oh my God, this is the same person. This is awesome. So I was very excited to meet you. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. But don't worry, I'll have you back soon, pretty soon, talking about your other amazing projects. So thank you, Denise. We love you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
All right, guys. So look. That was amazing. So you guys make sure that you go check out Denise's seasoning. She said, let me go ahead and say this again. You want to go to www.weezianagirl.com. That's WEEZIANA girl.com. We got to check that out, as well as check out her cookbook co-authored with Chef Jenrette, who's also one of my friends. I love him. It's called Southern Modified. So whether she's on screen, in the kitchen, the girl stays busy. Okay. So, man, but we're not done with Hollywood. No. Matter of fact, we are going to give you a dynamic duo, if you will. Okay. So we're going to segue to our next guest. And y'all, our first guest, she's an Atlanta native who now resides in Los Angeles with her husband. I'm not going to say his name because y'all going to see him in the screen in a second. But she and her husband became the first African-American married couple to be nominated for Emmys in the same year. And her nomination was for her portrayal of Annie in season 2 of The Handmaid's Tale. And her 2 latest films, Uncorked and All Day and a Night, are streaming on Netflix. She's stars she's currently starring in the 2nd season of the hit anthology show Manhunt: Deadly Games, which is airing on CBS. So guys, take a look at this.
So they tended to only record when something of particular interest was in frame.
Particular interest meaning what?
He means breast, sir. We have 400 hours of Double D's on VHS, not much else.
Oh, okay. But hold on, hang on to your seats because I said this was a dynamic duo. So her hubby is joining us as well. And he too, Emmy nominated actor. He was born in DC and now resides here in Los Angeles. I love my city. We just got everybody here. He's best known for his roles as Bernard on HBO's hit series The Wire, and as the bully on the hit CW show Everybody Hates Chris. He's also portrayed the legendary rapper Curtis Blow in the NAACP winning BT series and the New Edition Story. And he's also co-authored a children's book, The Adventures of Jimmy the Fly, which he co-wrote with his wife. You know, some of that pillow talk, they got to, you know how creatives are. They get going. And then he's also, his Emmy nomination was for a web series. This Eddie Murphy role is Mine, Not Yours, which he wrote, produced, and starred in. So here's our second guy.
Yo, Theo, what's up? Yo, man, stop playing for real. When? Man, all right. Oh, thank you for fighting to get me in. I appreciate it. All right.
What was that?
Yo, your boy just got an audition for the Eddie Murphy role in his biopic.
Please welcome to the show, Kelly and Melvin. How are y'all? Let's unmute y'all. Let's unmute your mic there because we got to hear all this.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hi.
Thank you so much for having us. Look at all that glow, all that melanin. I love it.
You know.
So
There's love in the air.
That's love. I think that's love. You know, that's what that happened. See, I don't know. But if you're watching, you know, ain't no ring on his finger. I'm just saying. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Really here, but never mind. You guys, Hollywood duo, I have to ask, what is it like being married to a fellow actor, actress, person in the business? Because I'm kind of curious what your conversations are like in the kitchen, in the bedroom. Like, are y'all acting out your roles and things like that, one another? Like, what is that like being married to a fellow actor?
I'm the one that's usually walking around saying lines, and Melvin is like, "What'd you say?" And he doesn't realize all the time that I am reciting lines, but I do that to make sure it sounds conversational and not like I'm performing. And if he's responding, if I'm saying something like, "No, that's not what you said," and he was like, "But I didn't say anything. What are you talking about?" So it kind of helps me make sure that I am not performing. So that's kind of what I do.
Okay, Melvin, how's it for you?
When we have an intense fellowship, it becomes the play. So we're like, it's hard for me to be in the moment because she's so good. She's such a great actress that, I feel like I'm watching a female version of Denzel Washington in Training Day. So I'm like, you won. It's over.
That's what we got. So when we took marriage prep, they didn't like to call it arguing or fighting. They called it intense fellowship.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, where did it come from?
Right.
So intense fellowship is AKA another word for a more constructive word for maybe a disagreement argument. Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you for the new vocabulary. Look, y'all, we've expanded your vocabulary. Hashtag Kelly and thank you, Kelly and Melvin. But now, I wonder, is there sometimes a little bit of healthy competition that happens between you guys at all? I mean, you're going on auditions, you're getting a role. Like, is there kind of this, is there any of that happens? No?
We can't allow it to be. It's hard enough in this business as it is. We just simply here to support each other because we're on the same team. If she wins, I win, and vice versa. So we're here to help each other.
Yeah.
That is so true. We do have to support each other in all of this. Now, we played your clips at the top of the show.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about, for those of you who haven't already seen her, which you need to tune in and watch that show. Boom. Can you tell us a little bit about that show, your character, and those type of things?
Yeah, it's Manhunt Deadly Games. It airs Mondays at 10 p.m. except for tonight because of the football game, but that's fine.
They can get a pass tonight, just one.
Yeah. So it'll be back next week. What?
But it just happened to be my team, so she's not too happy with me right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But I play an FBI agent, which was very exciting to me because before I felt comfortable saying I wanted to be an actor, I went to school to be a forensic psychologist. Oh, so being able to play an FBI agent was exciting. And then what it was about, it's about the bombing that took place at the 1996 Olympics at Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I'm from as well. So it was two of the things that I really loved, my hometown and that whole FBI world. And so it just follows the manhunt for the bomber who bombed Centennial Olympic Park and then the subsequent bombings that happened after that. And it's a really great series. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in it.
No, it is.
It's a really good series.
It is a really good series. Some really good acting there. And I was going to say, won't he do it? So he took where you're from and the things that you're passionate about. Listen, y'all, if anybody's out there feeling discouraged, a delay is not a denial. And so when something is for you, it's going to seem so magically put together so well.
Yeah.
And look, you've seen Kelly, and Kelly is acting her butt off in that. I love it. I love seeing Black women in a strong role, not just being passive and things like that. So you actually, you call some shots.
I do. And people are not happy about that, and they say that my character is me. I got a text message from my mom, like from last week's episode, and she was like, "Wicked liars." And I was like, "But I'm your daughter, and I love you." So, but yeah, I love Stacey Knox. So
okay, no, and that's good acting when people, because I know outside, once you step off stage, you're Kelly, right?
Yeah.
But when you act so well like that, people can see you in public, like, oh, there she go. And like really take on the character, like attribute your character's characteristics to you. Like, whoa, hold on.
Right. It's not me.
Exactly. So Melvin, you've done some things too. I mean, again, both of you guys Emmy nominated. So what's been your favorite role in all of the work that you've done?
Well, of course.
Long list. I know.
Man, it's hard. It's really hard. Well, one first. Can I pick two?
Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely, The Wire with it being one of my favorite shows, and it really it helped my career. It pretty much started my career, and then to portray Eddie Murphy, which is someone I look up to, is an honor. So those two were truly a blessing to be a part of.
Did you feel any pressure with that? Like, for example, to portray Eddie Murphy or those type of things? Like, what's the pressure like? Because he's such an iconic comedian, actor, like all of these things. Any pressure? Absolutely pressure. My thing was if I wasn't going to be able to sound like him, I didn't want to try to force it. I just had to make sure I had to get the mannerisms and stuff right, because that's always a hard thing as an actor. You're portraying someone which someone else knows. So it's kind of like, if you don't play it correctly, you're going to get a lot of criticism. And it's hard enough as an actor. You're going to get criticized if you don't do a good job, even just normal roles. So simply understanding, like, I feel like I had to really, embody it and do my best and just tell the truth in the sense of sometimes you don't want to overdo it. It's just simply telling the truth of who he was as a person. Yeah, well, you did the thing. And have you ever met him?
Yes, I met him many years ago.
Okay. But have you reconnected with him at all after that project? Has he seen it? Do you know if he's seen it?
I believe he has. I know a lot of his family members. So I know with one of the projects I did for Real's channel, they had to get his blessings on it, and then also the web series. I think someone showed it to him. Maybe Debbie Allen. I know she said she was going to send it to him. So I'm sure he's seen it. Okay.
Gosh, listen, I wouldn't even have to talk. Eddie Murphy wouldn't have had to say anything to me, just to know that he knows that I'm doing this. Gosh, I would have got all kinds of bubbles and excitements. But let me ask this. So, Melvin, it says that you actually wrote and produced and starred in the Eddie Murphy role, Is Mine, Not Yours.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes, especially in relationships, you can collaborate and like, honey, what do you think of this? Honey, what do you think of that? Yeah. Kelly, how much did you really write of that project?
I sprinkled in a few jokes here and there. I was like, it would be really funny if you tried this or if you said that. So there were like a handful of jokes that I was like, try that.
And this is how amazing she is, where I was trying to give her co-writer of it. And she was like, but hey, I didn't help you write it. And I'm like, but you did. You helped, write a couple of things. And I still like to, even you're my wife, I still like to give you credit where credit is due, because, that's the part of partnership. Simply, helping someone, take you to the next level. So I was honored to have her take me to the next level.
Hey, Mama Loretta.
Hey, Mommy.
We love the support. And you guys, there's been some other comments here. I didn't project everything on the screen, but people love you as a couple. They think you look beautiful. The glow that y'all are just glowing in there.
God is cool.
Yes, and I'm just curious. So, obviously COVID-19 has changed a lot of things. What happens in Hollywood? How has that impacted you guys directly? Are you guys still filming? Are auditions still the same? And what kind of advice or can you tell someone else who's trying to kind of break into the industry and audition as well?
It's been everything kind of just came to an abrupt stop. I booked a pilot as a recurring character back in February, and we were set to shoot in March, and then it got shut down. But we have started filming again, so I'll be filming that this week. So that's exciting. But auditions have now turned into self-tapes where you have to do it at home yourself, and then you upload it, send it to your team, and they will send it over to casting. So that's been a pretty big change. And then as far as like, gosh, trying to break into the industry, it's challenging. It's very challenging. But I would say just continue to seek out the opportunities that are out there. Do your research. There are classes that are online, and you make connections in those classes, and those things can lead to other things. So I wouldn't say, you know, because we are in the midst of COVID, now your dream has to stop. That's not true.
Oh no. Yeah, your dreams don't stop. Sometimes there are barriers and challenges, but we got to overcome those things. So if I might ask you, if you could kind of tell your younger self or give some advice. I mean, you guys are already accomplished. You've done all of these projects and this work, but maybe if you could think back to a time where you were kind of still starting out, still, you know, trying to just get your foot in the door. What's some advice that you might tell your younger self?
I would say simply to myself, get ready for what God has in store for you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That is something. And you know what? You have to have faith in the things unseen, right? You got to be consistent. Imagine, do the work and all of those things. And then you reap what you sow. So if you do those things, like I started a garden and I planted some seeds and I'm watering dirt. But you know, some of my friends are like, girl, really, you gardening for what? But then now I have all of the zucchini, okra, and all this other stuff. And they're like, oh my gosh, that is basically a representation of reaping what you sow and doing the work. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you guys, what's next in store for Kelly and Melvin? Like, what else? Are there any other projects coming down the pipeline? Anything that we should stay tuned for? And where can people follow you?
Well, you want to go?
Good.
Well,
they're so cute.
We did write a children's book together.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, The Adventures of Jimmy the Fly. And so it is so silly. It's just the first installment. It is to be continued. And so we are going to start working on completing that. We've been working.
And where's this available?
It's available on Amazon.
Okay.
We've been working on the second book for 3 years now.
We're gonna get it done.
And
then we're gonna try to turn it into an animation.
Yes,
that's the goal.
Ooh.
That's the goal. And
tell us a little bit more about the book. Like, what's the storyline?
Melvin came up with this idea, and he had a notebook of drawings of the different characters that and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, I love that. And he was saying that he wanted to turn it into a cartoon. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we should try to just do a book first. You know, all of these fantastic looking characters.
Oh, that looks really good.
And so it was like, yeah. So we sat down and wrote the book. It's about Jimmy the Fly, who plays an epic game of hide and go seek. And he ends up trying to hide on a plane and gets knocked on the head. And the plane takes off and he flies to he doesn't know where. And so he doesn't remember anything about himself. And so he's going on this adventure trying to find his way back home.
Oh, wow. That seems like a good book. I mean, just from what you've shown, I mean, the colors, the characters look good. And listen, y'all, I know y'all got kids home. Everybody's schooling from home. We do need to be reading with our kids as well, because that's also good for them. Because I don't know that we're doing a lot of reading of actual books these days. A lot of technology going on, but we got to bring it back to the books.
Yeah.
But that's amazing that you guys kind of co-authored that, and it sounds like animation and more books are along the way. And we can buy the book on Amazon.
Yep. Amazon.com.
Okay, and where can we follow you guys on social media?
I am at Kelly M. Jenrette on Instagram and Twitter, and just Kelly Jenrette on Facebook.
And I'm Melvin Jackson Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and melvinjacksonjr.com. It's my website.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for joining the show. I'm so glad that we talked. Y'all look like y'all just so warm and loving. And I think it's because my seat is empty. I think that's what it is.
It's all right. You're waiting on the Lord. He will bless you.
Thank you, Jesus. Yes. And from your mouth to his ears, you heard him, right?
Right.
Make sure you wait, because sometimes we want something and we got a whole lot of stuff to work out before we can bring somebody in.
It's a word.
Yeah.
AKA Alice, work your junk out first before you bring somebody else into it. But thank you guys so much. You guys, you look like a role model. You guys seem so loving, supportive of each other. You guys are both doing your thing in Hollywood. You're working together as well, collaborating, writing books, doing this animation. And that is something that we need to see more of, more positive examples of people, working together and just doing the thing. So thank you so much to both of you for joining. I'd love to have you back in the future. So please don't be strangers. And guys,
one more thing real quick.
Yes.
Tomorrow I'm going to be dropping, in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I'm dropping the promo trailer for my documentary. It's called I'm a Survivor, No Longer a Victim, which is about survivors of domestic violence.
Oh, wow. That is, that's definitely, listen, Mel, I asked what y'all was working on. Now you're going to wait for that. But no, okay, so just real quick. So that drops, can you say that for the viewers again? It's going to drop tomorrow on.
The promo trailer is going to drop on social media tomorrow. It's called I'm a Survivor, No Longer a Victim.
I'm a Survivor, No Longer a Victim, about domestic violence.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that, because we definitely, domestic violence is very real. And especially now that people are quarantined, we're not seeing it outwardly as much because we're not out in the public as much. So I'm excited to see more about that project. And hopefully it's something that we can share with everyone else and raise awareness to domestic violence. No one should be a victim of domestic violence. And it sounds like you said I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor, no longer a victim.
I'm a survivor, no longer a victim. Thank you so much. Kelly, anything else? Because it seems like y'all got some gems. Y'all not ready to anything else?
Well, I am writing a play about Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King. Yeah, so it was inspired by the meeting written by Jeff Stetson, which is an imagined meeting between Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. And I was like, man, I would love to see an imagined meeting between Betty and Coretta. And so I am a founding member of Black Rebirth Collective, and it's founded by 4 amazing women of color. And they were like, write it. And so I started writing. We were supposed to have our premiere on September 26th, but COVID had its world premiere first and shut everything down. So we'll probably premiere it sometime in 2021, but it's a really amazing piece. I'm still writing it. I'm on my 7th draft. Still writing about these amazing women who we oftentimes only know as the wives or widows of these incredible men, but they were so much more than that. And so just being able to see these full-bodied women, and I'm honored to be able to tell their story. So yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be good, because you're right. They're more than just wives. They got a whole life, a whole life story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Kelly and Melvin. We'll be watching you guys. We will be reading your books and supporting you. Keep doing your thing. We love you. I'm so excited to see you guys. And please don't be a stranger to the show, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh, this is such good information. I could talk forever. But we don't have forever. But guys, we've had Denise Boutte, we've had Kelly Jenrette, we've had Melvin Jackson Jr. I mean, the Hollywood duo. Some good stuff. But I did say earlier, we didn't get to have the full conversation with Dr. James. So I'm going to pull Dr. James back into the conversation so we can talk about some other things. So, Dr. James.
Hello.
Welcome back. He's going to take himself off.
You didn't tell me you were bringing all kinds of Black excellence tonight. Whoa. It was amazing. Everyone, I was like, okay, following this person, following whoever, like Kelly and Denise and Melvin and everyone. And I was like, let me get a cookbook and let me watch this show. Like,
order
this
some
is amazing.
seasonings, spices. Let me order this children's book. Let me go ahead and watch this on Netflix. Let me go ahead, all of this. But you know, that's one of the things, Dr. James, that I'm really proud to have this platform. Again, the Exam Room with Nurse Alice, where we take a closer look at everything going on in the world today. But speaking of things, I know we were talking about President 45 earlier today, about his admission, discharge from the hospital. Now, even more so, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, people are just walking around with COVID-19, just allowed to be discharged. At a time where it's already a lot of stress, we got so many examples of social injustice, people, you know, out of work because of what's been happening, kids, you know, people confined to their homes, having to spend extended periods of time together, like parents and kids, and but anyways, it's very stressful. But there's a very important election that's coming up, and all of these stressors might discourage someone from voting because they just can't handle it. It's too much, and I don't want to go out there. I'm gonna catch COVID-19 at the voting booths. Like, can you talk to us a little bit about what viewers should know and be prepared for when it comes to voting? And do they have any other options outside of going to the polls?
I love that you said options, because options outside of the polls is right. Well, we all love options. And you really do have 3 options depending on the state that you live in and the rules of those states. So there's an option in the middle that I don't think a lot of people know about. So there's mail-in ballot, right? Your mail-in voting ballot. So like in California, where we are, they are sending out the ballots now. You get to fill those out, and then you can mail it back. Or if for whatever reason you're not trusting the mail system right now, and I'm not going to necessarily go there, but if you're not trusting the mail system, you can take that ballot physically to a drop-off location, or you can hang on to that ballot until November 4th and take it at that time on your day and drop it off there. Does that make sense? So that's your mail-in options. Then you can obviously vote on Tuesday, November 4th, and I'm going to get to how you can stay safe with that. But there's this other option in between that a lot of people don't know about that many, many states do. And that is a vote in person option, but vote early in person. So there are some states, including really key battleground states like Wisconsin right now, that have early in-person voting. So it means no long lines. You can also schedule your time to come. So if you are really concerned about COVID, there's a lot of people out there who should be, right? If you are over the age of 65 and or you have an underlying medical condition, there's a lot of different individuals who really should not still be out in public because the pandemic is still going on. Right. You can actually go to a polling place early. There's no lines. It's just you. It's a poll worker. There's big, plexiglass. Yep, exactly. In between you and the polling person, they clean and sanitize everything. It's a single-use system. You have your ballot, you drop it in, hand sanitizer, off you go.
Perfect. So that makes me feel better. And so for those of you who are watching, just know that that you have options. Whether it's mail-in, drop-off, vote early, or voting on the day. Yes. There are some precautions that you need to take, but it sounds like they're planning ahead. But even still, make sure that you bring your hand sanitizer, make sure you have your mask, and get in and get out, right?
Yep. I absolutely think on those days, sorry to interrupt you, Alice, but on those days, let's say your only option is to vote in person and you have to go that day. It is really the basics that we've been preaching since February, right? I would advise you to go as early in the day as possible. Right. And if your polling place opens up at 7 a.m., you need to be in that line by 6:30, because a lot of places will have long lines, and those lines are going to feel longer because they're going to intentionally space people out by 6 feet. So take your mask, take your hand sanitizer, bring your own pen if you want, because sometimes there's paperwork that you need to fill out. You have that hand sanitizer. You can also ask when you get there for a private voting section. So instead of having those booths that are right next to each other, they have booths that are scattered out. And in a lot of polling places, they're starting to advertise that there's like a private polling room. Like you can go in and it's just you in that room and you vote in that room. So it's going to take longer. So those lines are going to be longer because you're 6 feet apart. And it's taken everybody forever because of all the precaution. But if you have to do that, just put on that mask, wear it the entire time in N95 or KN95 if you've got one, and you'll be safe as long as you follow those protocols.
Right. And thank you so much for mentioning that, Dr. James. And you guys, we'd rather you go slow and be safe than be fast and make mistakes. Okay. So, but we definitely all need to get out there and vote. Your voice matters. I mean, our nation's health and livelihood literally depend on it, because you see the examples that have occurred. We've already seen pictures of him with no mask. We don't know if there's an isolation plan. You know, they're going to be on. I'm sure he's going to try to get back on the campaign trail. But the most important thing is that, you know, regardless of what someone else is doing, that you do not follow anybody's peer pressure. Make sure that you are making safe and sound choices to protect yourself and protect your friends and families and loved ones, because we're in this together. You know, there's no such thing as I'm just going to protect myself, because literally we're all in this together. I mean, absolutely. You know, gosh, I could talk to Dr. James forever. Yes, Dr. James.
We could. I was just going to say, you know, we are all in this together, because the only way to get it is from somebody else. Right? I like to sort of remind people that like this is, if you wear a mask, if you physically distance, you don't get this disease. If you come around people without a mask and you don't do those things, you have a high likelihood of getting this disease. Since Donald Trump was diagnosed on Thursday, 40,000 Americans every single day have tested positive. The data would indicate that 200,000 people on each of those days have actually gotten the infection. And of those 200,000 people, 1,000 of them are projected to die. And that's just the data that we have since Thursday when Donald Trump was elected. So Alice, you're 100% right. Don't follow his lead. If he's not wearing a mask, that's none of your business. Your business is to protect yourself, your immediate loved ones, and your community, because we are all a part of this.
Yes, absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much, Dr. James. I always appreciate your expertise, your knowledge. I mean, and he's so smart, y'all. He's so smart. I love him. I would call him throughout the day, like, Dr. James, X, Y, and Z. You know I do. You know I do.
That's all right, because
Dr. James,
I got you.
You can real quick tell our viewers where they can follow you and hear more about you. I'm going to be having you back on the show, obviously, but where can they find you in the interim?
Yeah, at Ask the NP. I should have changed my little thing so it was up on the screen. But just like Alice is Ask Nurse Alice, I'm Ask the NP all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, website, YouTube, etc.
Thank you so much, Dr. James. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Keep doing the work that you're doing. Be safe, be blessed, and we will talk again soon.
You got it. Have a great night,
Dr. James. All right, guys. Wow, that was a full hour. We actually went over a couple minutes, but I had to because there was so much good information. My guests were amazing. But yes, this is the new and improved The Exam Room with Nurse Alice. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, we're looking at taking a closer look at everything going on in the world today. Health, wellness, love, lifestyle, bringing all the medical experts, bringing all my celebrity friends, and just talking about things that are important to you, things you need to know, things you may not want to hear, but need to know, and those type of things, as well as answering the questions that you want to hear. And bring on the guests you'd like to see. So if you have suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. Please email the show at info@AskNurseAlice. Let us know what you'd like to hear, who you'd like to see, and we will get that order up to you. And just real quick, I want you to make sure that you tell Siri, Alexa, set it in your calendars for every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and just, be set to watch the show. I said her name and she started talking in my room. Y'all probably heard. But set your reminders for the show. Next week we have another great show coming your way. We have my medical expert will be Dr. Jessica Shepard. We're going to talk about some really serious things. It will be Infant Loss Awareness Week. We're going to talk about the unfortunate loss of John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, as well as I have some celebrity guests lined up that will be joining the show. Guys, I'm Nurse Alice. It's a pleasure. I enjoy doing this. I do this because I want to talk to you as people and not my patients. So please, please, please continue to make good choices. Empower yourself. Be safe. And until next time, live well, my friends. Bye now.